2026 starts now. The leaderboard is live, the rankings are set. The first shots of the season are about to be fired. We are breaking down the South African official poker rankings powered by the Hendon mob and GPI. We're sitting down with South Africa's #1 ranked player from 2025. The online season kicks off this week. The live poker calendar follows shortly. We close it off with one of our own grinders making a splash at WPT Cambodia. This is Under the Gun. In any competitive landscape, especially this landscape of poker within South Africa, everybody wants to know who's stacking up, who's at the top of the list, who's falling by the wayside. That's what this segment's all about. The official South Africa poker rankings powered by the Hendon mob and GPI. I'm lucky enough to have stolen him away from Vegas and his busy schedule. I have Roland Booth from the Hendon mob and GPI joining me on the Under the Gun. Welcome, Roland.
Thanks, Wesley. It's great to be here. You're a huge advocate for South African poker, and I admire everything you do. I'm a kind of adopted advocate for South African poker. I love the scene down there. I first came down in 2018, and since then we've been doing Hendon Mob. We created the Cape Town Million. So I feel like an adopted South African, the way you guys treat me when I'm down there. And I'm super pumped to get into the South African rankings with you on this podcast.
All right. Awesome. Well, without further ado, we're going to break it down. Because we're in the start of the 2026 poker season, we're not going to look at current performance. So what I'd like to do is, for the viewers out there that don't really understand how rankings within poker would work or what that all entails, can you maybe give the viewers a overview of what GPI is, or the Global Poker Index is, how they fit into the global poker environment, and how the measures or the points ranking would be calculated?
Absolutely. The Global Poker Index, we like to think of it as the sort of industry standard mechanism for ranking poker players. A bit like you have the APT in tennis or the PGA in golf. The GPI is the way we rank poker players. And over the years, we feel like we've become the authority on this, to a point where now you don't really need to say he's GPA ranked X, Y, or Z. He's just ranked. And if you say this player is the #1 player in the world, you know whoever's saying that is usually talking about the GPI. So this is an algorithm that recognizes consistency in poker. It recognizes performance across a set measure of time. So in the case of the Global Poker Index, this takes results from the last 3 years of a player's poker playing history, and then weights those results based on recency.
Seeing that the 2026 poker season hasn't officially kicked off yet, I thought it pertinent that we look at 2025 and we create some context around who was crushing and who was taking home all the money. So what I got up here for the viewers and for you and I, Roland, to discuss is the GPI calculations for the calendar year 2025. Take us through this, and again, just give us a rundown of the metrics that we're looking at here.
So what you're seeing right there, Wes, is the South African GPI period. So these are currently the top ranked players in South Africa. So you see Max Deveson at the top. And Max Deverson is I guess some might say, an adopted South African player. He plays all around the world and is clearly one of the top performers in South Africa. He was previously ranked under the English flag. I think he and the sort of community down there felt that he should be playing under the South African banner. So he's been I guess sort of switched in recent times, and now he's straight in there at the top of the South African GPI. Now the GPI, you asked a pretty important question there. The GPI is a historical log of previous cashes. Now the way it works is it takes your best 5 performances in any 6-month period and counts the points that you've achieved in those events. And so in the most recent 18-month period, it will take the 5 highest scoring results in each 6-month period, and in the previous 18-month period, it'll take the 4 most high scoring results, and those results lose weight as they get more and more recent. So this is an algorithm which can be checked by any player by going onto the Global Poker Index website. So what you're seeing there is a list of players who have performed consistently over a 3-year period and who've done particularly well in the last 18 months. And you're seeing there some of the top players in South African poker: Max Deveson, Marco Nortier, Rudolf Fury, who continually performs well in high rollers. The high rollers in particular, due to their increased buy-in, will be considered more difficult events. They will benefit from the difficulty factor that's built into the GPI algorithm. So if you can consistently perform well in high rollers, you'll find yourself doing very well in terms of your GPI score, and you'll find yourself higher up the leaderboard than perhaps someone who consistently cashed in lower buy-in events. With the thinking behind that being that you're competing at a higher level against tougher players.
And this is not just limited, just so the viewers understand, this is not just limited to events played or competed within South African borders. This is looking holistically at players that are under, from a South African flag perspective, and how they're performing not only in South Africa but globally. And I think that's a critical factor here.
Absolutely. So results all around the world are accounting for GPI points. We take a very broad definition of an event that counts. As long as the buy-in is $1 or more and it's an open event that anyone can buy into, it will count for GPI points no matter where it is in the world. You know, in your list that you have now in the South African GPI, you have some players who apply their trade exclusively in South Africa, the likes of Marco and Sugan and Clayton. The majority of those guys are playing in South Africa exclusively. But then you're seeing some players there, in particular Max, Muaz, who also play in events around the world. So you can certainly do very well in this ranking by just playing events on the South African circuit. But obviously, if you play internationally, you're giving yourself greater opportunities to amass GPI points just due to the sheer number of events that take place around the world and the size of some of those events. You guys, 300, 400 or 500 players would be kind of the typical number for a main event here in for you guys in South Africa. But if these players are playing in the US or around Europe, you can play events with 4,000 or 5,000 players. You definitely put yourself at an advantage if you're playing internationally in terms of GPI points, but you certainly don't restrict yourself from occupying the sort of the higher places as we see from this list now.
Yeah. So as we progress through the 2026 poker season, we are going to see this leaderboard moving and shaking. People, and it's clearly identifiable here, people dropping down in the rankings and people rising up in the rankings. And I think this is going to be an absolutely hot topic when it comes to the South African poker community. And people are going to be chomping at the bit, especially when we get to December time.
Well, I think it's particularly interesting in the South African community. You guys are a very small, tight-knit community. I was looking up the money earnings for 2025. And in the whole year of 2025, there were 482 South African players who cashed in total throughout that year. So that demonstrates to me what a tight-knit community you are down there. Everyone knows each other. Everyone has a good amount of experience playing each other. And that, for me, makes these GPI races and these Hendon mob races all the more exciting. Everyone knows everyone. You're used to battling each other at the tables, and it creates that competitive spirit that I have enjoyed immensely when I've come down there to first to play, and then as the organizer of the Cape Town Million, just witnessing the South African scene and all its quirks and dynamics.
Yeah, we can sum that up from a South African slang word called heers. And that's what we bring to the table. Talking about all-time money, or not all-time money for 2025. Let's actually jump to that right now. What I'm bringing up here is, and this is public information available through, this would be through the Hendon mob, correct?
Yeah, the HendonMob.com. We have every kind of ranking you could imagine, every national ranking, US state rankings, flag hunter rankings. Rankings is really what we do. It's our bread and butter. And the Hendon mob, if you come to the HendonMob.com, there's something for everyone, and you'll definitely find what you're looking for. What you pulled up here, Wes, is the 2025 money list for South African players. Max Deverson has rightfully come in there at the top. He's a phenomenal player, and he plays all around the world. And I guess what I was saying about playing internationally, helping in terms of amassing GPI points, this is true of Hendon mob as well. If you look at this list here, Certainly the top two spots. Max Deveson, who plays in South Africa, of course, but he plays as well in Asia. He plays in Europe. He goes to Morocco. So he's playing all around the world in some big events. So he definitely finds himself at an advantage in terms of how much earnings he can amass in the year versus
Earnings,
someone
yes,
who's
100%.
exclusively playing in South Africa. Whilst as well, he travels perhaps not as extensively as Max, but he's got results all around the world on his profile, and you can see him catching in 2025 in events outside of South Africa too. These guys definitely put themselves in an advantage. But you also you have the likes of Sugan and Marco, very, very strong players on this list. Clayton as well, who pretty much ply their trade in South African events and perhaps Tanzania as well. So it's really interesting to look at the numbers. I find that the number most interesting is the number of 482. Which is the number of players who cashed annually in 2025 from South Africa. To me, that's a very small number, and it shows what a tight knit and kind of insular community you guys are. Because if you looked at the UK or the US or France, that number would be in the thousands, often in the tens of thousands. And so it says a lot for the tightness and the close knit nature of your community. That number.
Yeah. I think also it's something just to point out, and we're looking at a snapshot of the top 20. Two ladies finding themselves into the top 20 of top money earners. That's phenomenal. So we have Renette sitting at 9th place, and Tanith Rothman sitting in 17th. I mean, that just says that this game is for everyone.
Absolutely, poker is for everyone. We're huge advocates for ladies in poker. We run the annual GPI Female Player of the Year, which celebrates the best female players in the game. And we're huge advocates for the ladies game. We support any initiatives that we cross paths with to bring more women into the game. This is one thing we'd all like to see. But I've certainly encountered Roland at the table. She's a phenomenal player, and very much deserves her place in the top 10 on the 2025 earnings list for South Africa.
So we will be kicking off our first official live event or live series coming in the beginning of March with the Shuffle Up series at Monte Casino. I'm really excited to see who is going to be taking home some top honors there in the main event. The High Rollers, they've got 13 events over 11 days. It's a bumper schedule, but that's a different conversation I've already had with them on the podcast. And what we will see then is this: how will these changes? Obviously, everybody would be zeroed out from a money earning perspective for 2026, and we're going to see this list start populating at a rapid pace as the poker season kicks off.
Yeah, I hope, Wes, that next time we talk, we're going to have some events under our belt in South Africa. And so firstly, we can talk about the GPI Player of the Year for 2026. So the Player of the Year goes hand in hand with the GPI. That counts your 13 best results in a calendar year, and accumulates its own separate ranking based on results in a particular year. So although your overall GPI ranking may not be particularly high, if you don't have strong results going back 3 years, if you perform well in one particular year, i.e. now in 2026, you can shoot up the Player of the Year without necessarily being super high up the GPI ranking overall for South Africa. And so if you look, I've got your Player of the Year 2026 open now, which obviously Player of the Year zeroes out in January. You've only got 10 players from South Africa with any results in 2026 so far. So these will all be players who've travelled abroad. You've got the likes of Bradley Moore, Max Deverson, Marco Nourtier. Some of these players I noticed went to Morocco for the World Series circuit.
Morocco,
so they're just yes, Cambodia as well. So you have had players who've cashed so far, but none of your guys will have results on home soil in 2026. So you must all be pretty excited about the upcoming series where people can start to accumulate GPI points for the year and accumulate earnings. And I think I think we're going to see the same players performing at the highest level in 2026. You've got some very strong players down there who've impressed me a lot, certainly in the Cape Town Million events, which I've commentated on and I've played. You have some very strong players there who will continue to perform well. They study hard, they're aggressive. These kinds of players are always going to do well in tournaments. I just look forward to seeing those guys who I've come to know pretty well doing well again in 2026.
Right. Yeah, I'm also looking forward to this landscape shaking up a bit, and who knows how those cards are going to fall in certain people's favor. because there's a whole bunch, or there's a part of this game which we have no control over. So I am, like I said, really excited, and I'm wishing every single player that steps onto or sits at the felt all the best. And we hope to see you, myself and Roland, hope to see you and talking about you in the upcoming rankings.
It's going to be a great year, 2026. As you guys have some great players. I hope to see some of your players at international stops.
From the Hendon mob perspective, I know that's something that you are super passionate about, and you also do a lot of the partnering with within various series. Is there anything notable, or is there anything exciting coming up in 2026 that, speaking of travels, maybe something that a poker player from South Africa would look at, be interested in jumping in on and getting involved with?
Well, I'm lucky enough to travel frequently. The Hendon mob, people down where you're from will know the Hendon mob from the Cape Town Million. But this is one of 14 events that we do annually in 5 continents. We're the only live event circuit that goes to 5 different continents: North America, South America, Asia, Europe, and Africa as well. And so this year we'll be at some phenomenal events. The next one coming up will be in Bratislava just next week. One of the best events Europe has is the Irish Open. Now, this is an event which I will often reference to South African players when they ask me what's the best European event to come to. The Irish Open is a huge festival that takes place at the end of March and the beginning of April in 2026. The Hendon Mob Championship hosts a big 2-day event there. It got 888 players last year. We think it might hit 1,000 this year. We also have a number of events in Malta, which is a phenomenal destination for poker. We go to the US, we go to California in the US. We go all around Europe, Bratislava, Czech Republic. We go to the King's Casino in Rozvadov, which is the biggest European casino. Hundreds and hundreds of tables there, runs 5,000 player events more or less every weekend. So there are some phenomenal places to play poker, Wes, and I really hope to see some of the South African community getting out to those events. Hendon events will be 14 strong. Some of our best events are our UK events. We have an event at dusk till dawn in Nottingham and Genting, Stratford. So if any of you guys have any connection to the UK or want to come visit the UK, it would be my pleasure to host you there. That's obviously my home country too. The UK is where I call home, and it would be a huge honor of mine to welcome your community if any of them want to come and visit the UK. Yeah, but it's just another busy year. I'm just passionate about Hendon Mob events. I want to grow them even further. I want to take them to new destinations. We love adding new flags and allowing players the opportunity to win unusual flags in unusual destinations. So this year we'll be going to Manila, we'll be going to Mexico City. These are locations and events that we've never done before. So the Cape Town Million has come to become my favorite event of all. The community down there are so welcoming, and it's such a warm experience every time we go down there. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to South Africa later in the year with Hendon Mob. So yeah, another busy year, Wes, and I really look forward to seeing the South African community in South Africa, but also as well as hopefully some other events around the world.
Yeah. Right. Roland, if any players are interested to get involved with any one of your stops, where would they be able to check that out online?
They can go to thehendonmob.com or anyone can contact me. And you can, of course, use the contact section on thehendonmob.com. And you will reach us if you have any questions about the Hendon Mob, about rankings, about the GPI, and about Hendon Mob live events. 14 events coming up in 2026.
I will put all those details in the show notes. It's in the description, so make sure you check it out. If you have cashed anywhere and you want to see where you're standing, go check it out. I think it's gpr.com, where you can check your GPR rankings, but all those details will be in the show notes. Roland, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join me. I'm excited about this. I know the community is excited about this, and I look forward to 2026. I know I'm going to be doing some interesting things from a content perspective. So yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Thanks, Wes. You're really knocking out the park with everything you're doing, and you're a huge advocate for South African poker. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
You guys heard it first. South African Poker Rankings officially live on Under the Gun. Let's go, baby. We've looked at the rankings, and the rankings said he's number 1. Nobody was ranked higher in 2025 or earned more money. Today, we are going to get in the mind of SA Poker's ranked number 1 player. Welcome, Max Deveson.
Thank you, Wes Blom. it sounds quite funny to say number one. I didn't even realize, as we discussed briefly, but yeah, interesting. Very surprised.
Well, the scoreboard never lies, and GPI have you number one. So Max, firstly, thank you very much for taking the time and joining me on Under the Gun. I'm going to have you in the pressure seat, and the South African poker community is dying to hear from you. For the viewers at home, what we are going to be going through today is we're going to dive into Max's mind, where it all started, how he's worked his way up the rankings to land up number one in South African poker. Max, where did it all start for you?
Poker I started when I was like pretty young. Just played with the boys like around the kitchen table at the age of like 15. I actually only started with cash games, very, very, very small stakes cash games, and then transitioned into tournaments around the age of like 23, 24. And now I'm 35, so I guess I've been playing tournaments for like 9-10 years. I always dabbled in tournaments, but obviously in the last few years, I've really focused on tournaments. And I guess the trajectory just came from that. And obviously played a lot in England and Europe and stuff like that. And then in the last 5 years, obviously played a lot in South Africa.
Well, you've actually become an adopted South African, and with your little hybrid on its way, definitely a South African.
Yeah. For tax purposes, I'm definitely British. But yeah, no, for now, I feel like definitely South African. Actually, recently fully converted, got a bucky, so definitely South African now.
Definitely a South African now. So tell us, looking at where it all started for you, was it predominantly online? Was it more live, or was it more a hybrid path that you took to build up the success that you've achieved so far?
I definitely would say that I was pretty much just a live player. Didn't really play anything online in the early stages when I learned poker. I learned through like Zynga poker and stuff like this, but I never called myself an online player at all. I dabbled every now and then, mainly on Sundays, obviously never missing a Sunday. But yeah, no, I was basically always a live player, would go to the casino, travel around, play the tournament here, that sort of thing. Only in the last, probably since like the COVID time, I played obviously a lot more online, focused more online. And then obviously after then, gone back into playing live poker. I think it's the purest, more fun version of poker. Online is obviously extremely fun as well, but it can become almost like, I mean, you could just sit there in your trackies and no one knows what's going on. But yeah, when you go to live poker, obviously you're setting an impression on people as well.
Yeah. So looking back, what do you think it was what was that shift that happened for you in your poker career? What was that breakthrough moment for you?
As I say, like at the beginning, I generally only played cash games for many, many years. I think it was around 2018, 2019. I had a coach at the time, and he decided that instead of playing cash games, we should move into tournaments. He said to me, okay, we're going to go to Barcelona to play the EPT. We'll go play. And I was very fortunate, like in one of the first couple of events I played, I went deep in like one of the €2,000 buy-ins. And I ended up coming like fourth. And obviously the fields in Barcelona are very, very big. I think there was like 2,000 players or something. And I came fourth for like €150,000. And this was kind of, I guess, my, let's call it breakthrough moment. Obviously, the money was really helpful at the time. Unfortunately, I sold a lot of action on this, but it was still, a decent amount of money to me at the time. And I guess that was kind of the breakthrough moment. And then I had like to and fro, that sort of thing. Like anyone, you have your downswings, your upswings, stuff like that. Have periods where you lose for long periods of times. And then now I would say that I kind of do all the live tournaments, and then some of the online stuff I dabble quite a lot in the cash games these days.
Well, and that's obviously led you to being a PokerBet ambassador from an online perspective.
Yeah.
Clearly they knew something we didn't when this man was going to top the rankings.
Yeah, to even say it again now, it kind of surprises me thinking of last year. Like, I didn't feel like I had like an insanely good year last year. I would have said my 2024 year was probably better. But yeah, 2025, there's obviously a lot of factors that probably came into me getting the top spot. Ahmed not playing, Ahmed Karim, obviously was super, super strong South African player. That obviously helped. And then another top player that didn't have a great year was someone called obviously Gio, that Giovanni. He didn't have a fantastic year. I would have said though, based on all the series that I went to, I would have said actually Golf 9 was probably top. I'm surprised to see, and obviously very grateful that I had a decent year.
And I think that segues perfectly into the next section that I was wanting to cover with you, is looking around the 2025 performance. And you mentioned that, and this is a critical thing, that as a poker player, you will reflect back on, let's call it the season, if you may, and go, actually, it was a okay or average season. But I think the critical factor here is looking at consistency. And that consistency is the thing that's going to constantly keep you in that chase for being in the top 1, 2, or 3 within the rankings. And would you say that's something that's the accumulation of consistent results allowed you to top the rankings for 2025?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the rankings works points wise. I know that obviously main events are, I'm pretty sure, weighted slightly differently, the point systems. I think in 2025 in general, so in the past, I pretty much would just go to a series and I would just play like the high roller, the main, and maybe the super high. Like, and if I was out of anything, then I would hop into, let's say, the smaller events of my average buy-in. Whereas 2025, I really focused on just playing whenever I felt good. So I guess the consistency came from this because I was playing a lot more events than normal. Like, I mean, in some series, I was in like 10 events, like, which is good and bad, you know, because obviously it means that I'm falling out of the ones that I plan to go and play. But I guess the consistency came from that because I did have some decent results in some of the smaller buy-ins. I remember coming like second in one, there was like 200 players, which obviously is worth a bunch of points. Not so much monetary value, but like obviously worth a lot of points because it's obviously hard to navigate through 170, 80, 200 players. Whereas in a high roller, you're looking at like 50 to 100 players. So, I would guess that's where the consistency came from, and being able to play a lot more events than I normally would. And yeah, I would guess this is probably where the consistency came from and the points came from.
Yeah. So going back to traditional grinding and, like you said, playing when you felt good. A lot of times, and you and I have spoken about this in a previous session, that if you're not feeling great, sometimes it's a minus EV to even reg for the tournament. And I think that 100%. Speaks testament to your professionalism and the way you take and how seriously you take this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me personally, it's obviously different for a lot of people, but for me personally, even if like the best event of the year is on and I'm not feeling good, I just choose to not play, to be honest, because it's very different to a cash game tournament. Like you're going to get into the tournament, you have to play for X amount of time. And if you're not prepared to sit there and grind it out, as you say, it's, you know, you're kind of wasting your time. And I've experienced it before, good moments, bad moments. There's obviously moments where you feel like, let's call it middle, where you're like not feeling great, but you're not feeling bad. Well, these are the moments that obviously you really find your character and realize what you can do, because I experience it a lot where, you know, you're tired in a session, or, you know, you had a drink with a friend the day before, you're not feeling so good, or, you know, you ate some bad food or whatever it is. Those are the days where obviously you need to really bite the bullet and get down to it. But yeah, in general, if I'm not feeling good, I choose to not play. But you know, there's only so many limited series you can play a year. So I kind of have to push through that boundary often. And I sometimes will feel bad. And so I've got a few ways to go from a bad mentality to a good mentality before tournaments. One of my big things is just, you know, associating yourself with either music or something that you like watching, TV program, or, you know, talking to my wife, whatever, that sort of thing. Just make yourself feel good again. I try and avoid being around negative people. It definitely pushes off on you. And when people talk about like bad beats and I got knocked out in this tournament, to be honest, it's not I don't care. I just don't want to surround myself around negative people or negative thoughts. So always trying to be confident.
Energy,
not like fake. Yeah, energy.
Yeah,
that's not fake confidence.
Yeah. So, and that's something that I'm a firm believer in, is that what the environment that you surround yourself in, it can manifest on outcomes. And 100%. I've seen you a lot where people, especially at the series, people want to do a hand breakdown with you or whatever the case may be, and we are on the money bubble for the Mega Million, or we are three-handed like you, myself, and Suki were in the Mega Million ones. And I think I managed to get under your skin there a little bit, that in that specific event that you had to go do some meditation.
Yeah, definitely. I think because in especially live poker, you don't get a lot of time on the breaks. You know, you go to the toilet, you have maybe 10 minutes left, right? So it's like, if someone comes up to you and, you know, wants to talk to you and stuff, especially in the big moments, in the later stage moments. In the early stages is obviously a little bit less important. But in the late stages, I think it's like very important to like very much stay in the zone, try and not get affected by like outside interference. And yeah, feeling good is obviously important. And then if you don't feel good, you need to like, I don't know, let's call it like zen back to where you're meant to be.
And especially if you're catching a bad beat at the table, the time to reset there is while the dealer's shuffling the cards and before the next card is dealt out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I did a lot in 2024, not so much in 2025, but like, I did this thing where, I don't know where this came from. Maybe it was just trying to stay in the moment. I did this a lot in Morocco when I did well, actually. Would not look at the run out and like kind of just close my eyes and try and stay in the moment a little bit. I don't know how to describe it, but kind of looked like I was a little bit odd. But yeah, no, I think it's
disassociate yourself from the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, detach from the things that we can't control, and you know, whatever will be. There is, like you said, I remember that one time at Mega Millions where you got under my skin a bit. I can't remember exactly what happened, but like I was definitely like thrown off my game, and then luckily we had a break.
Let's go,
happened.
baby! That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, luckily I think we had a break, and I kind of reset and got back into the zone. And yeah, to be honest, I am human. I'm not a robot. So like I will be put off by certain things, and certain things that certain people do definitely throw me off. And what does that happen? Makes you play worse.
And that's a critical thing is around how quickly mindset can shift your performance in this game.
Yeah. I would say that the average player generally, they're very emotional in the game, and they get really affected by like when they're all in. Like they're all in like a coin flip situation, something like this, they lose. And you can see like people that are not more the recreational players, but generally people that aren't experienced in having those situations happen over and over and over again, they get really emotionally attached to the outcome. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be a robot and detach, but like I would say like always try and think about the things that you can control and things that you can't control.
Good control, yeah.
So, you know, we get it all in. I have ace king, you got queens. I can't control what the dealer's going to put on the board. You know, I can only control what I do before that. No. So yeah, but there's also, I love emotional people in poker. Like I'm also emotional. You don't really see it much until I win or like do well in a tournament. Like, and if I do win a tournament, I like the feeling of winning. It's very nice feeling.
And so just on that point of winning. So we have identified you. Well, you have risen to the top of the rankings. What does that represent for you for your season in 2026? Does that add any additional pressure? Is it just another notch in the belt? I know it's not a trophy you can put on the trophy cabinet, but how would that affect your? That would be cool. How is this going to affect how Max Deverson approaches the 2026 poker season?
So it is a cool achievement. As I say to you, I didn't know I was the number one spot for 2025. For 2026, not really going to affect me in the aspiration of like, I won't most likely achieve it again in 2026 because I've obviously got family duties to deal with this year. So like poker's definitely going to be on a back peg. I would like to do it again. Obviously, that'd be great. And I mean, it just comes from results, consistency. But like based on 2025 to 2026, I'm not going to be able to play as many events. So it's going to be more challenging. And then there's effectively more pressure on the events that I do play. I would say it's going to be hard for me to get number one again because everyone's going to see that I'm not playing as many events. So all the regular players are probably going to subconsciously play more events because they're going to see that, okay, Max is not playing. I want to play all these events, which I would do the exact same. You know, like when the top players are not playing, I want to play more.
Yeah. No, I can get, and listen, and the family responsibility, talking about Max is about to become a father. So welcome to fatherhood. I've just gone through that journey myself last year, and trying to juggle poker with newborn is tough. So yeah, priorities are obviously in the right place, and rightly so. So from a South African poker standpoint, it's going to be sad not to see you competing as consistently as you were over the last couple of years, but there is still plenty time for poker.
Yeah, correct. Like I'm gonna obviously play as much as I possibly can, but I don't want to say to people like, I'm going to be at this stop, I'm going to be at this place, I'm going to be this thing. One thing's for sure, I'll definitely be playing loads on PokerBet because obviously being able to be at home is obviously a big attraction. Like, you're not going to see me miss many Sundays, that's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, live poker is definitely going to have to take a little bit of a step back. Never miss a Sunday, especially on PokerBet.
So talking about from a volume perspective, and a few of us know and saw you were over in Morocco competing in the WSOP circuit event. You touched on it briefly earlier in 2024. Actually, the main event winner, himself first place plus the World Series of Poker circuit ring. That's quite an achievement. For those players that have never played, traveled either to Vegas or traveled and played in a World Series of Poker event, can you give us a bit of insight to what's the experience like? Why Morocco?
Yeah, so obviously with traveling, there becomes obviously a lot more expense. You can't just drive to the casino here and, stay at the hotel or guest house or with a friend or whatever, that sort of thing. So there's obviously massive expense with flights, accommodation. The buy-ins are generally going to be slightly higher as well, and also a lot more events. So when you compare like a series like the one I went to Morocco compared to one of the South African series, in the South African series, you're looking at about 8 events roughly. And I would probably play around 4, whereas in Morocco, it's like a 2-week series and there's like 15 events you can play, something like this. And you can literally play all the events because they're very well structured where they don't overlap too much. Then I would say that it's definitely something that people can look at, but they must just be very aware of like the cost involved. I know that a lot of people from South Africa travel to these places and doesn't go well for them money wise and poker wise, mainly because the player pools are different and they're different all over the world. Like not everywhere is the same. So some places is more aggressive, some people is more not aggressive. There's just like loads of variations of play style. And then why I went to Morocco, I would say, so I went there the first time 2024, and I had like one of the most insane series you could think of. The first event in the opener, I came 4th out of 750 players in the opening event, which is like already going to be a great series. I think I cashed for around 300,000 Rand, something like that. And then in the rest of the series, I didn't really cash anything else, I believe. And then I made obviously the most insane run in the main event, and there was, I think it was around 1,100 players, which again is just insane for like in a week period of, I don't know, 8 to 10 events. So I was really fortunate with that. 2025, I went again and didn't have such a successful time, but I did cash the main event again. I think I made the top 100, but there was more players this time. There was around 1,500 players. Yeah. I made around the top 100, so decent cash, but like obviously not the success that I had the year before. And then this year I went again, and again didn't really have the success. It's basically impossible to have the same success that I had, but I came 62nd in the main, and I think there was around, I can't remember, 1,600 players. So like again, like an insanely deep run in the main event. And
it's deep.
A few big situations kind of didn't go my way in the second final day. Insanely fortunate to have this. I would say the main attraction for me to go there is the price point is pretty good. So the average buy-in is around 500 euros. The cost of getting there is not too expensive, and hotels and stuff are like not that expensive. This year, I was fortunate enough to stay with a couple of friends, poker friends. We stayed in like an Airbnb place, and that was a really good environment. Whereas the year before, I'd been just in the hotel by myself. So the price point is good. The food situation is really good there. Like they have a dinner break every day, and the food is free, which is kind of unheard of. So they have like a full buffet service thing, and it's completely free for any player. And then I would say the people there is quite nice, and also the poker is not such a high level. So the opportunities for winning is good.
Okay, great. And then looking at towards the end of the 2025, you also did a trip out to, was it Taiwan? I think it was for the APT.
Yeah. So the last few years, I've really focused on Asia over Europe and other places, mainly because the numbers of players that they get seems to be extremely high. The quality of play, again, is not too high compared to like places like Europe. And so the opportunity to win is good. The cost of getting there is obviously reasonably priced, but being there is also quite cheap. Taiwan, not so much, but like Cambodia is cheap. Thailand, I haven't been since they've obviously legalized the poker, but I've heard also good things about there. Taiwan in particular, now I've been there 2 times. I went there the start of 2025 and then at the end of 2020. Yeah, the reason is it's not too expensive to get there. The attraction of the amount of players, the events that you can play. I mean, this particular product is called APT, Asian Poker Tour, and they have like over 100 events in 2 weeks. Okay, you can't play all of them, of course, because of a lot of overlapping. I played about, I think I played about 14 events, but I mainly went for the big main event that they had a big guarantee on. So I didn't think that they were going to hit the guarantee. So I kind of went there with the hope that they would maybe overlay. And then obviously, if anyone knows what overlay is, obviously it's, where the casino effectively puts money in and, there's free money available basically. Because it was $10,000, they guaranteed 5 million, which isn't a massive guarantee, but like for there, it was the biggest buy-in that they'd ever had really in Asia, other than places like Jeju. So I'm going to carry on focusing on Asia. To be honest, my results have been pretty bad in the last couple of years in Asia, but I know that when I do have a breakthrough moment, it's going to be like very lucrative. Like it's going to be very big amount of money.
All right. Well, very, very interesting insight as to where poker or Asia poker market is also the fastest growing poker market in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're doing big things there. Blueprint
is Max, seeing that you about to enter fatherhood, if Squire Keanu had to come to you and say, Daddy, what does it take to become South Africa's #1 poker player? What would your advice be to him?
I think, hard work and grit. I always have the thing, obviously now it's going to be different with the baby coming, but I always have the thing of my wife pushing me because she loves spending money. So I think this is the thing. And it's like kind of, I do feel proud of where I've got to. And there's still obviously a lot more things to come. But yeah, I would say if I'm talking to him, then I would say, hard work, good person, on and off the table. Do all the small things great, I think is important. And yeah, good fundamentals, good vibes on and off the table, work hard. I think that most people could work harder or get more out of the situation, but it's not for everyone. So I would do that. And then I would add pressure because people have already told me that I'm sure that Keanu is going to be one of the youngest trophy winners in South Africa. That's what they keep saying to me all the time because they're going to have added pressure of me. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. And maybe he's the youngest poker winner in South Africa.
Well, I think we can have a little prop bet between my Rosie and your Keanu to see who rises up the rankings as the next South African poker superstar.
Yeah, I think so. That would be cool.
Max, if you've touched briefly and we've both spoken around what it takes from a mental perspective, what would you say is your biggest internal battle competing at the stakes that you do?
I would say my biggest internal battle, especially in South Africa, is kind of staying in the moment and not getting ahead of where you are. I've done well in the past of like, you have a big stack and you handle it how it is. There's various other players who get a big stack and then let's call it give it away. So I guess staying in the moment is important. I try and focus on this and then playing the stakes that I do. I don't really think about the stakes that I play anymore. Even when I play bigger, I don't even really think about it. I just try and make the best decisions in the situation rather than thinking about the pure money value. I just think about it based on chips in the tournament.
Yeah, to add to that pressure as well is now carrying that coveted title of South Africa's #1 ranked poker player from 2025. Would that add any additional pressure while you're sitting around the table?
Maybe I should make people aware of it. I am South Africa #1 2025. Make them intimidated. No, I don't think. I don't think it will add any extra pressure to myself personally, because I think I know that this year, I would have to have an insane year of the events that I do happen to play, based on the family taking more priority. The next series that I'm going to go to is going to be Monty in the next couple of weeks, which I plan to play like high roller in the main event, which is not a lot of tournaments. And who knows, maybe I can't even play that. So we'll see what happens. Later on in the year, obviously, I'm going to be able to ramp it up a lot. I'm going to be able to play a lot more towards the end of the year. But I really don't know how I'm feeling about it now. Obviously, you being the father already, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous more than excited. So I don't want the extra pressure when I'm playing poker as well. And there will be a lot of situations where like I won't feel good, or I like won't want to leave home, or this sort of thing. So I don't want to pile pressure onto like when I actually do play.
Pressure.
But I do handle pressure pretty well. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, to be honest. Uncharted territory.
And I think if you had to look forward in the future past 2026, what does that horizon look like for you from a poker perspective?
Obviously, I'm going to still play a lot of live poker. I do plan on at some point stopping poker, but like this is not anytime soon. Definitely in the next few years. No, I think my goals would just be to win trophies. I would like to, I'm going to set like quite a hard target for myself. Like I know I spoke about earlier, you can't control certain things, and like winning trophies, you definitely can't control. But I will set like a high target of I want to win X amount of trophies, and mainly performance. Like I want to perform well when I do play. And then, going forward to 2027, I'm obviously going to be able to play a lot more stuff. But we don't know. Like, I don't know by that point that the baby's going to be older. Maybe my priorities drop off a little bit. Maybe I focus mainly on PokerBet Online. They have obviously good stuff on there, so I can still play. And we'll see from there. But I would say my target is, I'm going to say even my target for 2026 is still 2 trophies. I think it's an ambitious target based on what I'm probably going to be able to play. But I do believe that I can achieve it. And I think belief is pretty important.
Max, a huge thank you for taking the time, especially now just before baby Keanu is expected, and joining me in the pressure seat on Under the Gun, the first South African poker podcast. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm sure the viewers have learned a whole bunch more about who Max Deveson is and what it takes to be the #1 poker player in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. Lastly, just want to say, I think you're doing a fantastic job with this podcast, and all your streaming stuff is obviously very engaging and exciting. So obviously people must really support you. I think that growing the sport in South Africa is very important. I think we're both growing it in very different ways, but our goal is still the same. We're trying to get more people into the sport. I say sport is a mind sport, or poker is a sport. Let's call it sport. I think this is important, and people, you need to really support Wes. And thank you everyone that supported me over the years. And
thank you.
I've had a lot of guidance from lots of people going into fatherhood and stuff like that. So I appreciate everyone's support with everything. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds with everything going forward on your channel. And what happens in South African poker is really down to all the people that play. So the more people that you tell, the more people that play, the better the game is, the better environment is. And I've always said, anywhere that I've played around the world, I still do think, and I'm not just saying this, I do think the best place to play in poker is South Africa. Everyone is so friendly, and anyone that comes over from overseas always says this, and is so inviting to the people. Like I know that you experienced this with Abbey Merck, the Abbey Poker. These people, they're just so welcomed into the community, and I think everyone really should pat themselves on the back that we're so. And I think we need to continue to do that and grow the game from here. So that's lastly all I wanted to say, Wes. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. While the live poker scene is hotting up in South Africa, PokerBet has got something really special lined up for us, kicking off on the 25th of February. I am joined by Ryan Brower, Chief Product Officer from PokerBet, who is going to take us through the summer edition South African online poker series. Ryan, thank you for joining me on Under the Gun.
Thanks for having me, Wes. Excited to be a part of this, and honored to be part of your first episode.
No, it's only a pleasure. Right. So let's jump into the meat of this. Next week, Wednesday, I think it is, 25th of February, summer edition. Let's call it version 2 because we had one last year in December. Kicks off. Break it down. What's the series about and what can we expect coming out of it?
Yeah, we're excited to run our quarterly series, SPS, we call it. It's been affectionately labeled Soaps Inside because one of our staff members misread it. But yeah, the SAOPS, it's back again. It's always proven popular, thing with the popularity numbers, prize pools, since we launched it at the beginning back in 2023. 6 events across 5 days. A little bit of everything for everyone. We try and create a bit of variety, different size entries, different sort of formats. We can drill into those later on. But yeah, just happy to provide some action to the guys and the community that's loyal to us.
So let's unpack the 6 events, event by event, buy-in by buy-in, and what the poker community or the players that are anxiously awaiting this announcement can expect from each event.
The thing. We're starting off with our regular Wednesday deep stack event, 800 plus 80 buy-in, 800 plus 80 rebuy, and 1,000 plus 100 add-on. This event gives you more chips relative to big blinds to start off, just giving the guys a little bit more play, a little bit more value for money. You often see some online tournaments starting with 100, maybe 150 big blinds. This is starting with way more than that, 20,000 chip starting stack, 400 big blinds at level 1. 16 levels of late reg, so we give the guys a long time to play. Some guys don't like to play when the blinds are so relatively small to the starting stack and they want to max late reg. But yeah, this event just is full of play, good structure. In fact, we pride ourselves on the structure across the series. We've worked hard at refining it and making sure that players are getting value, even the guys who max late reg with a few seconds to go before cutoff. That event's proven popular. Every series we beat in the guarantee, and we're confident that we'll beat the K guarantee on that again. That's Wednesday night. We jump into Thursday. We got 2 events on Thursday. One is the freeze out 2750 buy-in. Pretty self-explanatory. This one separates the men from the boys and evens out the playing fields. There's no max pullets. We don't have Rudolph going wild. And yeah, I mean, this is just the purest form of poker. Obviously, just your starting stack is what you get. And when you lose your chips, you're out. Also good structure. And on the same night, obviously, for a smaller pool of players, we have the high roller, which is 16,500 buy-in, 500,000 guaranteed. We smashed the million mark in the last series, which is something that sort of took us completely by surprise. Always happy to beat the guarantee in this event and get to 6, 7, 800,000. But to pass the million was really a big watermark for us, and hopefully we can generate as big a field again as well. This is a really good structure. It's a re-entry event, so there's no add-on, but we do allow for players if they want to clip in for another 16 and a half multiple times, it's up to them. But yeah, generally a smaller field, tougher field, because you are going to sort of have more of the guys that are more experienced and bigger bankrolls, and it's a big one to win.
It is absolutely a big one to win. Yeah, I was watching the high roller, and I bubbled a seat into that last series. Devastated, well. But yeah, it was fireworks. It was just going insane. So yeah, well done to you guys, and I foresee that one being another major stop for the guys playing within the series.
Absolutely. And if we jump onto sort of Friday evening, one for the more aggressive guys, the 6 max event also proves popular. As you can tell, and as you know, playing an 8-man versus 6-man tournament is a very different kettle of fish. There's no room to hide. You can't fold your way. You need to ramp it up a little bit and play with a bit of more aggression, more VPIP. And yeah, you got to mix it up there and take lines that are probably slightly more variance than you normally would. But this is also proven to be a pretty popular event. Yeah, that's 1,100 buy-in, 1,100 rebuy, 1,100 add-on. And then we jump.
Guarantee on that one?
Yeah, there is a guarantee of 300,000. The freeze out's a 200,000 guarantee, obviously slightly smaller because there's no rebuys pushing up the prize pool there. 100K for the 6 max. And yeah, we're taking a break on the Saturday this time. We actually experimenting a little bit because we've realized that Saturdays poker players do actually have a life and tend to go out and maybe watch some sport and spend time with the family if they remember where they are. But yeah, we're taking a break on Saturdays. We'll run a few satellites obviously into the 2 Sunday events, and then that's our flagship, the 1.25 million No Limit Hold'em main event champs. We had a really nice uptake in the last one. We hit 200 unique entries, which was a nice point for us to hit. And we hit 1.5 something million guaranteed. So another beat on the prize pools. And yeah, we're hoping to repeat the same again. And hopefully we can beat the 200 mark too. And for those who don't have the $3,000 entry or haven't managed to win a satellite into the series, there's also the mini main, which is effectively a carbon copy of the structure. We're looking at 300 plus 30 buy-in and a 400 plus 40 add-on with 125k guaranteed. So if you compare that to our regular Sunday Slam, which is a 200k guaranteed, and the Wacky Wednesdays and Monday Madnesses, which are 100k guarantees, this is a far lower entry point, 300 grand buy-in. You know, you guys can get in with satellites. We'll be running plenty of small micro entry satellites and pre-rolls into that as well. And this is really where we want to provide an opportunity, even for the lower part of the base that are playing the 1k guaranteeds and the 35 rand binds. They get an opportunity to mix it up and play for a really substantial first prize that'll be, 40k plus.
No, and we're seeing that innovation coming through from you guys this past Valentine's Day. You guys also showing the love and bumping up all those 1Ks that we were talking about. I spoke about it quite extensively on my stream. Some of the prize pools exceeding over 10,000 Rand there. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, we're very happy with that as well. We've been doing the payday boosted, for the better part of the last year. Those 5Ks at the same entry as the regular 1Ks. They've been pretty popular, and then this time we even juiced up a few more to 6-7 grand guarantees as well on the sort of more popular hotspot times during the day. And happy to report that we beat all the guarantees in all of them. And like you say, some of them touching on 10K and over 100 entries in a few of the events as well. So yeah, we're trying to really grow the base and provide, not just looking after the VIPs and high rollers, but across the board.
And something that came out on the communications for the launch of the South African Online Poker Series hosted by PokerBet is the leaderboard. Tell us more about that, if you can.
Sure, it's back. We've had quite a few inquiries and comments in our WhatsApp updates group, guys that are sort of asking, where's the leaderboard gone? Why is there no play of the series? We had mixed it up a bit. We changed it up that we were sort of promoting that if anyone won 6 events across the series, they'd win a certain prize, and 5 events would win a different prize. The person who probably benefited the most from that is this guy, because he didn't have to do calculations for every single tournament. We based the leaderboard on the GPI, the Global Poker Index, their ranking system. This takes into account the buy-in, the total size of the field, and your finishing place. It's got a formula that calculates based on those 3 variables, and it'll spit out points based on whether you finish first, second, third, fourth, as long as you're in the money. So you cash in the tournament, you earn some form of points, and it's generally proven to be that the person who wins that has been the most consistent and achieved the best across the board results in the series, and obviously rewards consistency for somebody who manages to cash in 4, 5 or 6 events.
To grind, yeah.
So we brought it back. Yeah, we brought it back this time, and we are providing basically prizes across the top 10. In the past, it was just a play of the series prize. Obviously, it sometimes left somebody finishing second, third, or fourth a little bit despondent about it, but we have in fact, we want to spread it down. So basically, if you finish 10th to 4th, you'll get a free entry into the next million or 1.4 main event in the next series. So our monthly millions are 29.70 buy-in, so it's a $3,000 prize for that. You'll obviously have earned some cash along the series as well along the way. These are just sort of sweeteners on top. Anyone who finishes third will get 3 entries into the next 3, or obviously if they can't make one, they'll be able to sort of take a credit, and they'll get 3 main event or million entries. Second will get 5, and first will get 10. Basically, for the rest of the year, they'll have their entry into all of the monthly millions or main events until the end of 2026. And on top of that, we're throwing in a whole gaming setup with a chair and monitors and headphones and stuff like that as well. So there's definitely something to play for and to duke it out. I'm sure that whoever wins the overall play of the series will probably end up with north of 300, 400, 500k in cashes and a little bit of a bonus on top as well.
Yeah. Well, that's bankroll set then for the remainder of the year for the big ones.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm definitely going to be fighting it out for top spot there. So you'll be able to catch that on the stream. See how close I get.
Awesome. I'll be rooting for you. I'm not going to doctor any points for you. I have to audit everything and do it fairly across the book.
Yeah.
But
we've had this conversation before around messing up points and me doing something retarded and losing out a trip to Vegas.
You know all too well how you sat out the main event when you were leading going into the final event.
Well, I was still a rookie back then, where we don't make those mistakes anymore.
100%.
Right.
100%.
We're going to move to segment 2. Happy with that?
Cool. Nice and
it did go
easy.
well, it's easy when you got the questions. It's not like you can get the answer wrong. It's just how
100%.
getting stage fright. Yeah. So with the 6 events over 5 days, is there a satellite schedule, or is there a robust way that we can get in cheap? Where can
Absolutely.
where can we get more information on that?
So look, I mean, you just jump into the lobby on PokerBet and you'll see satellites, phase satellites into the satellites, free rolls into the satellites, and some free rolls directly into the events themselves. They've been running since this weekend that passed. They'll continue running straight up until we kick off the final event on Sunday. It's a whole host. We really are trying to give people the opportunity of sort of thinking a fairy tale story, winning we've got stories of in previous high rollers and Sundays, the Super Sundays, we ran the 4K guaranteed. I remember watching, if I can segue a little bit here, one of our players won a free roll into the satellite, which was a 4-seat mega sat. I looked at this player because he was, in the top of the leaderboard in the set with about 12 players left and 4 seats and a bit of cash for fifth. And I saw his playing history. I saw what kind of tournaments he was playing. And I was like, hold on a second, this guy's qualified from a free roll into a satellite. And now he's going to very likely, if he just plays his cards right, no pun intended, going to end up, in the target event itself. And with about 5 players left, I saw him playing really loose and playing so many hands when he could have really logged off and just done nothing effectively. And it turned out that he was trying to get the cash value for, I think, 6, 7, 8 grand for the seat, as opposed to the 11,800 entry, because he wanted the cash and he didn't think he had a chance. The good story is he didn't get the cash value. He won his seat. And then I sat there railing him like I had a 50% stake in this guy. And he ended up cashing in the Super Sunday for 39,000 Rand. All this from a free roll into the target set, into that event with no rebuys, no add-ons. So he literally turned 0 Rand into 39 grand. And so these are the fairy tale stories that Darren, myself, Darren and I always talk about these dreams. These are the things that really can set you up if you are a serious player and looking at building that bankroll. It's a huge acceleration. And we hope to see more of them arise throughout the series. So just check the lobby. Literally every event will have satellites running into them, free rolls into those satellites, and obviously phases as well. So for example, a 300 Rand satellite into the main event might give away 5 seats. There'll be a phase set that runs into that. That'll be $30 entry. There'll also be free rolls into that as well. So the opportunity is there to earn a seat worth $29.70 in the main event for literally nothing. And the same goes throughout the whole series. So all the events will have targeted. This week we've been running 4 seats into the deep stack event, direct free rolls. So those are 880 Rand seats. You can win them for nothing. And there's 600-700 people lining up every day to play in them. So have a go. It might be your opportunity.
I know as a streaming partner for PokerBet, there was a bounty on my head on Wacky Wednesday last night. So Custom managing to evict me from the Wacky Wednesday and winning his seats into the deep stack.
Yeah, I think 6 players won entry into our deep stack event last night. And we've already had, I think, 2 or 3 of the afternoon free rolls targeting, plus other sets set up. They are going to be all over this weekend and into next week. And these satellites are huge. They really do help us grow the fields, have a considerable starting field of, 30, 40, 50 players before the tournament even gets underway. And it really is vital in an economy and a community as small as ours to be able to generate entries through satellites.
So would you say with the uptake already in the selected satellites that have been, because I just logged onto the app now, there's quite a few people already registered into the main, that we are going to expect a bumper series? Yeah,
listen, generally the year started off really strong. We've had really consistent numbers in most of our tournaments, especially in the bigger ones. We've been seeing a couple of Sunday slams hitting 250k. I think this last weekend's one hit 275.
Yeah,
and I think
was the biggest one
memory serves me. In my memory, it's the biggest one we've ever hosted on our site. Which is amazing for a 770 Rand entry tournament to generate a field like that on a random Sunday is huge for us. And we're looking forward to hopefully seeing that sustained consistency and growth into this series. Just generally across the board, there's been good action online, which bodes well for the SOPs.
Which means poker in South Africa is alive and well. So with the South African Online Poker Series effectively being the first series for South African grinders to get their teeth on, I think that's going to, just from my opinion and being a player, I think we're going to see the action is going to be hot and ships are going to be flying, and I'm really excited about this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the action on it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we are always hoping for the action to follow what's been happening. We are fully aware that guys are chomping at the bit. It's been a little bit of a break since our last big live series, which obviously helps people's wallets fatten up a bit. And we hope that they bring those buy-ins into our series. Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to see the sort of nature of online versus live. And, there's players that generally don't play online. They don't like the environment. Guys play more hands online. They're going to experience a volume of more bad beats. Plus, people tend to play a little bit wilder online because they don't have to be sort of stared down face to face and embarrassed for calling an all-in with 9-6 suited or something like that. I mean, I think that we find there's certain guys that'll play everything, anything that's available to them, whether it's online or live. Some guys are stronger online because they play more GTO. They don't really like playing in a live environment, or they're not patient enough because you're getting far fewer hands an hour. And other guys prefer the live environment to go with the live tells, to have a good talking game, to really read the players. Yeah, I think this series and the structure provides an environment for all of them to cut their teeth and bash it out.
It's absolutely a magnet for any poker enthusiasts that's wanting to build their bankroll for 2026 and look at taking home some decent cash. Talking on the point where what you've touched on, myself being a hybrid poker player, I do have a preference to live poker, but in terms of action and volume and learning, we've had this conversation, you and I personally, just the amount, like you had mentioned, the amount of hands and the various spots and the amount of time you can, at a low buy-in point, go and test certain theories and put some stuff into practice to become more comfortable with certain elements around the game. Absolutely, online is here to stay. I only see it growing strength by strength from a South African poker perspective.
Yeah, there's many benefits to both. I think, like you say, you prefer live. I do too, just in the fact that one of my biggest strengths back when I actually played this game and was good at it was the ability to read players, put them on hands, pick up physical tells, study the game more intently. And I think that you touched on the point about the learning opportunities. I know that when we green behind the ears 2004-05 burst onto Pig's Peak back in the day and started playing online, we could accelerate the amount of hands that we played, because at the end of the day, poker is about how many hands, how many situations you sort of see, keep repeating patterns, those kind of things. You had an opportunity to play multiple sites or multiple tables, at the same time, and obviously getting sort of 45 to 60 hands an hour in a single table as it is, versus the live environment where in a slow environment with bad dealers, you might be picking up 15 to 20 hands an hour. You definitely are able to accelerate it up. You can't really match the amount of accelerated learning that you get. And then you plug in all the solvers and able to review your hands and look at mistakes and check the charts and see where you're making mistakes and refine your game. It really is unrivaled in terms of almost an education platform.
Well, it's just from my perspective, it was something that facilitated my trajectory being so new in this game.
100%.
That was all thanks to PokerBet. So just taking a step back and looking at the 6 events within the series, where would you say, if a player is looking to take their shot and at a bigger shot, where would that be within the series, and which one of these events potentially has the most value in it for anybody looking to rather invest into a single event with their bankroll?
I think we got to start off and just talk about responsible bankroll management. Understand that the variance in tournaments can be brutal, as anyone who's played, for a better part of a year or two will realize that you will at some stage run worse than you've ever thought it would be possible to run. But at the end of the day, I think that if we're looking at the series, obviously the first one for an entry-level player to be able to really match it up and get a great structure and a chance to win a decent prize would be the mini main, with the structure that is really slow, not a huge buy-in, and the opportunity to qualify quite easily for $30 or even through free rolls. That would be a great starting point. It also isn't a irresponsible thing to chuck in 300 or 700 or 1,000 Rand with a rebuy and an add-on into this event at your opportunity to take home, a 40K plus first prize. I'd say the other events that jump out to me, the deep stack event with so many opportunities, to win seats through all these various mechanisms we discussed, and a great structure. And again, a really healthy first prize as well. I think that's another great event. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's an opportunity for everyone. If you're a grinder who prefers the aggressive game, and 6 max might be your opportunity where you feel you have an edge over the rest of the guys who are used to playing 8 max tourneys, then that could be the one for you as well.
Something I always ask my guests on Under the Gun is myself looking at evolving as a player, but also supporting other players in their journeys through coaching or boot camps or whatever the case may be. What is it that you see from an operator perspective? And like you said, watching these guys go from free rolls to satellites into feature events and finding a result, what would you say that it takes as a characteristic or a personality or whatever that DNA element is of a poker player to be consistent on a platform like yours?
That's a good question, and it probably has multiple variable answers. We
just like poker.
Obviously, yeah, absolutely. I think that at the end of the day, poker, I always tell people this, poker is about making the best choice at every single opportunity with the amount of information provided to you. You can't control the way the cards are going to run out. You can't control sort of a lot of variables. What you need to be able to be in control of are the controllable. And to me, that is the same going for a live series. The guys that are professional about it, the guys that aren't out till 4 a.m. the night before, coming in groggy, irritable, they're set up in the right environment. They've got their sort of home office environment. They don't have 3 sports that they're betting on in the background. They're not doing it while they've got friends visiting and, trying to do multitask. They're focused on the game, because at the end of the day, you need to be watching what your table's doing. You need to be watching even when you're folding hands. Look who's on tilt. Look who's playing well. Look who's showing up with big premium hands at the end of it, or somebody who's just playing any 2 suited cards from any position. And put yourself in the best environment. Get proper sleep when you can, the right music environment, the right setup, sit comfortably. You've got a great studio there that you play out of. And I think that's the kind of thing that obviously not everyone's got that exact, man cave or poker cave, you want to call it. But set yourself up for the best possible chance. All those kind of things will just give you that 1%, 2% better opportunity. From what I see, the guys that are doing well, they're the guys who consistently are approaching the game with the respect it deserves, and putting in the hours and reviewing where they made mistakes, and also being accountable and honest with yourself. These guys that are doing well consistently are playing a lot of volume. They're getting a lot of experience. They're working on their game, and they're doing it in an environment, in a setup that really benefits them and gives them the best opportunity to succeed.
Mentality. We athletes. Some of us might not look like it, but we athletes.
And mind games are huge. I mean, like you say, doing the right sort of manifestation, visualization, prep, sports psychology, whatever you want to call it, whatever your routine is, but it can be incredibly rewarding and one of the most challenging and satisfying games when it goes your way.
Ryan, I want to thank you for joining us on Under the Gun. And we look forward to next week when the cards will be in the air. If you guys want to get involved in the action, pokerbet.co.za is the place to be from the 25th of March. Well, if you want to get in cheap from tonight, go check out the satellites. Come join the guys on PokerBet. And Ryan, thank you very much for joining me.
Absolute pleasure, Wes. Look forward to watching your stream and seeing you go deep. Hopefully I'll be putting a few points on the GPI index onto your name after a few of the series, and see you ramp up the leaderboard. It's been a privilege to be on the show. Wishing you all the best with it. And honestly, your professionalism and approach to the streaming and podcasting side of things is great to see. Poker needs to be taken seriously, and you're doing the hard yards, and I really hope that it pays off in the long run for you and for the community of poker, getting the word out there and spreading the game. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And we'll see the rest of you on PokerBet during the SOPS. Good luck, and come and bink 400K in the main event.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Awesome.
Cheers, Wes. Ciao.
The South African poker season is underway, and I have a very special guest joining me today. We have Demi, the operations manager from Shuffle Up Poker, who run the operation at Monte Casino. Demi, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much for having us. We're very excited to be a part of your podcast.
Always welcome. Right, so let's get into it. Shuffle Up are hosting the first live event for 2026 in the South African poker calendar. That's about it.
Okay, so we're very excited to host the first series of 2026. We're running 13 events from the 4th to the 15th of March at Monte Casino at the beautiful venue La Toscana. Monte Casino's hosted, this is our 15th series there. The flagship events of the series will be the mini main event, which has got a 500,000 Rand guarantee, 5,000 Rand entry, and 5,000 Rand re-entries. Then next up, we've got the Shuffle Up Championship, which is a 20,000 Rand buy-in with 700,000 Rand guaranteed. We've then got the Ultimate Tournament, which has grown in popularity over the last few series. That's got a 500,000 Rand guarantee as well, 8,000 Rand entry with 8,000 Rand re-entries. We've then got one of our most popular tournaments every series, which is the High Roller Tournament. It's got 1.5 million Rand guaranteed and a buy-in of 25,000. And then for the best event of the series, the main event, we've got 2.5 million Rand guaranteed. And that's got a 15,000 Rand buy-in for day 1B and C, and for day 1A, which is on the Monday the 9th of March, it's a 14,000 Rand buy-in for day 1A.
Full breakdown, all the tournament structures available in the show notes. Looking at event number 1, that was something that was in the middle of last year in one of the series. Give us the thinking and what it's all about.
So the first event holds a lot of value. We start off with 100 Rand buy-in and we've guaranteed 100,000 Rand. So the idea behind this was to create an event that had a lot of value that is affordable to everybody. So this buy-in suits everybody. With the ladder structure, the rebars go up in increments. And this allows the event to be accessible and affordable to everybody and creates a lot of excitement. And it's an event that everybody can enjoy and get involved in the action. And it also holds a huge amount of value.
100,000 Rand to be exact for first place, not guaranteed for the prize pool. 100,000 Rand that's 1,000 ROR, your 100 Rand buy-in.
Yes. So this event, and it's gaining a lot of popularity. I think the very first one we saw 210 entries, and it's sort of just kept the same. It's a full house every single time we have this event.
I know the last time I tried to jump into it, I was waiting to get a seat.
Yeah, so
Insane.
If you do anticipate coming to the Step Up tournament, make sure you're there at least an hour to an hour and a half before the time so you can get your ticket, you can register, and you don't have to sit on a waiting list.
So that event's ideally aimed for anybody's bankroll starting at $100. If you haven't played at an official series, or instead of playing at your home game, can bring a home game buy-in and come spin it up at Monte Casino with Shuffle Up.
Yeah, this is the best event for that. And it's also a really nice event if you want to try out poker. So if you're a first-time player and you just want to try something out, this is the one to do it because it's only 100 Rand. What can you do with 100 Rand besides for buy into the Step Up tournaments?
With every series, as we all know, there's generally a robust satellite series that puts full poker series that's a bunch of people launch. How has that been? What's the take been like? Give us the scoop.
The satellites at Monte have a huge following, and every series it grows. We've got a lot of new players joining us this time. In the last 2 weeks, we've given over 1 million Rand in seats and prizes, and we've still got another 2 weeks of satellites going. So if you haven't won your seat yet, this is your chance to do it. We have had a huge amount of new players and a lot of waiting lists, so it's looking very good for the series. I think we're going to have we anticipate at least 2.5 million Rand in prizes and seats going into the series from the satellites.
That's 2.5 million Rand generated just through satellites being invested into the series. That's absolutely incredible. I know from a player perspective, went through one of the Friday satellites. Luckily enough, got a seat at the late registration. But yeah, guys, if you want to take your shot and get in cheap into this upcoming series at Monte Casino, go down to check out their schedule. I'll also post that in the show notes and get involved. You can spin up from a free roll all the way to a main event seat worth 1,000 Rand.
Yeah, and what we've introduced a lot now during this satellite period is a lot of package satellites. So Monday nights we're having a mini main and ultimate seat package that you can win, and that's only 200 Rand entry, and you can land up winning a 13,000 Rand package. Tuesday nights we have the mini main ultimate and one life package, so that's a total value of 19,500, and that's only a 300 Rand entry. So all of our satellites are extremely affordable, so everybody gets a chance to win their seat and potentially play in the main event where they have their chance at winning a 1 million Rand first prize.
So and majority of the satellites generally have a guarantee. And what I have seen so far through social media, guys have been smashing those well onto you.
Thank you very much. We've introduced last series and this series. We've got the cash satellites. We recently had the Valentine's Day cash satellite where we guaranteed 100,000 Rand, and we surpassed that, and we went to, I think, a prize pool of 180,000 Rand. We've got another one coming up called the Build Your Bankroll cash satellite, which is happening on the 28th of February. That's got a 1,500 Rand buy-in, and we've got 150,000 Rand guaranteed. So that's a really good opportunity to build your bankroll for the series.
Very critical point that you made there. So if you haven't managed to win a seat, good way to scoop some cash and get into series in the green.
Yes, definitely.
This guy's done it before. But with the uptake and the already 1 million Rand that's being generated through the satellites, what's your prediction upcoming series?
Yeah, being the first series of the year, we do anticipate a full house. Our accommodation is already sold out, so that's a good sign. And we just said the satellites have been extremely good so far. So we do anticipate a very good series coming up.
So definitely something to be on every poker player's calendar.
Definitely.
4th of March, it kicks off at Monte Casino, starting with a puck tournament.
Yes.
A bumper schedule, 13 events, days.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And it's 13 events you're going to want to play, all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Try.
Looking at the schedule series, would you say that the series is for your rate heavy players or your pro players, or there something that a recreational or first time player would be able to come and cut their teeth?
Our schedule for this coming series has got something that caters to everybody. So whether you're a recreational player, you're a high roller, you're a first time player, we've got something for everybody. So our buy-ins range from 100 Rand to 60,000 Rand and everything in the middle. So there's 13 events that you can pick from. Just everything, whatever suits your bankroll.
The game selection going to be a very critical thing for those coming in with a tighter bankroll versus those that have got a bottomless bank account. It can just fire bullets, vent off.
Yeah.
And we see a few of those characters floating around.
Definitely.
If I had to put you on the spot, which would you say is the event that has the most value?
I'm torn between two. I think the best value tournament is the step up tournament, just because of how much you can win for how much little you can invest. But the main event is definitely the best value tournament.
That's the 3-day, structured 3-day event, multi-day one flights, 3-day one flights
Yes.
leading into a day 2, and ending up at day 3 with final table at January for Monday morning.
Yes. Yeah, so the 3-day one flights, we've got main event day 1A, which I stated before, which is got a little bit of a discount, 1,000 Rand less, 14,000 Rand to enter. Day 1B, which is on the Friday evening, that's 15,000 Rand. And then we've got the turbo flight day 1C, which starts on the Saturday with 15-minute blind levels, and that will also be 15,000 Rand to enter.
And all the satellite winners buying their satellite seat, one of their satellite seat, day 1.
Yes, so day 1A is extremely busy because we have all the satellite players going into day 1A.
And it's
So
the
the-
only events.
Yes, yeah. So we keep the Monday open just for day 1A, and it's actually a really fun day to play with all the satellite players because we'll have probably 90 to 110 satellite winners playing in that flat. So it's nice for some other people who haven't won their seats to come and play with the satellite players. It is a really fun day.
Yeah. So I had a chance to go over the schedule, and two things caught my eye. On the first weekend, we do what looks like a structured towards the high roller. It's event number 3. In event number 10, the mini high roller event. Those two caught my eye. Tell us about it. What's the details?
So over the series, we've got 2 big weekends. The first weekend is where we've got the Step Up tournament, the Mini Main, the Shuffle Up Championship, the One Life. So we wanted to include something in that weekend that caters more to the high roller players. The 60K tournament is there to cater for the more high roller players during that weekend, where we do have some of the smaller events. Even though we do have the Shuffle Up Championship running during a similar time, they won't overlap. So players can buy into both of those. Then the mini high roller, we gave you the mini main, so now we're going to give you the mini high roller. So it's basically a quarter of, everything's a quarter of the high roller. So the buy-in is a quarter, the add-on is a quarter, and the blind levels are a quarter. We do expect this tournament to be quite popular because it's affordable and a lot of people enjoy the 15-minute structure as well.
So it's designed as a turbo structure.
Yes. Yeah, so we do anticipate this to be quite busy because a lot of people enjoy the 15-minute blind levels, especially the satellite players. So it'll be fun to see how it goes, and I think it will be busy.
Because typically there's not really many events running honestly all the high. I think those two fun.
Yes.
And
Yeah, so this is like something, so while everybody's playing the more high roller players are playing the high roller, the recreational players also have something to play that's affordable and will also be busy. So we're looking forward to that event as well.
and every single event having their own trophy.
Yes.
So you got to make sure you are in it to win it, get one of those coveted Buffalo trophies. Now I've got 2. Marshall, definitely looking at adding a couple more.
You have 13 chances.
30 chances. So with the early signs and the uptake at the satellites or accommodation being sold out, what's your predictions for these?
I think a good prediction for the series is it's going to be huge. It's going to be a very, very good series. That's the best thing I can say. It is going to be a good series with a lot of internationals I've mentioned before, a lot of South Africans joining us from all parts of the country, and the satellites doing so well. It's going to be a good series. We're looking forward to hosting everybody.
I'm going to be definitely grinding it out there. Need some redemption after the SA Poker Open. The millionaire and grind fail that we did. So yeah, thank you, Demi. I really appreciate you joining us here, a hot seat on Under the Gun.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
You guys heard it here first. Check out the show notes. Satellite schedule as well as the pool series schedule is available there. Still got some time to go jump in at Monte Casino Poker Lounge and win your seats. As always, let's go, baby. Today I am joined, and I have him on the pressure seat. Jaco Mouton is under the gun with me. Welcome, Jaco.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
Right. Jaco, you were just recently away in Cambodia, competing in the WPT Cambodia event. And yeah, I think today what we wanted to get to the viewers is who's Jaco, what he's about. You'll run at WPT, and I know you've been crushing the live scene since you've come back. So yeah, that's what you guys have got in store for today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, again, happy to be here. And I must just give props, guys, first before we get started. I mean, what this man here is doing for SA Poker, no, can't be humble now. It's unbelievable. I mean, the setup here, you guys can't imagine. It looks great, Wes. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate
And I mean,
that.
the ambassador you are for this game, what you do for the SA Poker community. I mean, the man vlogs, he streams, he has a podcast now. So, I mean, I think this is just really putting some really good spotlight on SA Poker. And, I'm thankful and excited for this journey. And, yeah, let's fucking go.
I'm blessed. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jaco, as a player, I know you've been one of the original crushers from way back in the All Africa Poker, what was it? All Africa Poker days.
Yeah, the Big Speak. So I started in 2006. Looking for something to do online. I've always liked cards, played casino games and whatever. And, you know, I've stumbled upon poker, the Three Pigs website, and gave that a go. Won a seat into my first All Africa that same year, and managed to make final table my first All Africa. I came fifth, just bubbling a seat to Vegas. But yeah, cashed in my first ever All Africa, bubbled the next All Africa, and bubble the one after that again. Stone bubble the City Vegas. So I hope this isn't a trend, because we'll get into some bubbling. But so I started my journey there, and played the All Africa, and played the Pig Speak online. Did really well in that. You made some good friends, and then I think around 2009 there was some legality issues, and the site closed down, and I kind of lost interest. Started a new job, and you know, life happened. Got married, got kids, and I just fell out of the poker scene. But I always felt like something's missing, and yeah, so COVID came around and nothing to do, sitting at home, and I'm like, I wonder if online poker is still a thing. You know, so I Google, and I found that, yeah, there's some online poker sites in South Africa again. Let me give it a download and see. And on my very first tournament I played, it was a Monday night, the Monday Madness on PokerBet, and I came heads up with a familiar name, Circa. And I asked him on the chat, "Are you the same Circa from back in the All Africa days?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we were good friends, Michael Taylor, shout out Mikey. And yeah, so I came heads up with Mike, and there was a live series shortly after MP, and I thought, well, I mean, let me go and see if I still got what it takes. Flew down to PE, played my first live game. Played the high roller where I made a final table. And then I also won the Super Stack 2. So I said, I clearly can still do this.
Yeah.
So I properly got back into it then, really 2025. I played the whole series really. And yeah, I had a couple of international travels. Came second to Max Deveson in a heads up game in Tanzania. Also, there was a super high roller. So yeah, just really good to be back. That's a short recap of how I got back into poker, really.
Okay. So starting your poker journey, I would say, for those of you that don't know, All Africa Poker was hosted in Swaziland, outside of the South African borders. Poker wasn't really legal in any of the casinos in South Africa, well, not operated. And we saw the likes of Darren Kramer being born out of there, Ryan Brower, we had Joe Boy Rami, and all those stalwarts of the game stemming from there, who we now know in the current South African poker landscape. So yeah, just it's incredible that to see going that far back, tapping into the history of poker within South Africa, like where its roots started, that you now finding your way back to the tables with us in the live scene as well as online. What would you say is the biggest change that you've noticed from back then to now?
Always, I mean, it's a completely different game. It's a completely different game. Back then, 5x open was standard. If you min click, it's always aces. And we had some European pros come in the last couple of All Africas and like min raise every hand, and we just fold. We just fold ace king. We just fold jacks, because I mean the man's got aces, right? Because what's this min raise story? So poker back then was really all about position, and you'd be tight aggressive in position. I think that still plays a big role. Obviously, the game has transformed. People are studied. It's all GTO and charge and solvers. And I mean, you have to adapt. So I got a little into that, but I still play on gut feel. I still like putting pressure in position, and being an aggressive player, playing on feel, staring the man in the eye, and you know. So, but yeah, it's become a lot more technical, and it's fun. I actually prefer this version of poker a lot more. So I think it suits my style, and yeah, that's really the big change.
Yeah. And I think also if we look at the diversity of what the poker landscape looks like now in South Africa compared to back then, there it was massive buy-ins, single tournament, freeze out only,
Yeah,
where now you've got a plethora of events you can play within a series, different operators within the country and different buy-in levels. And
yeah.
we're seeing a lot more youngsters coming into the game, and that bringing that flair of well-studied and GTO whiz kids
Yeah,
and
no,
all of
for
that.
sure. I mean, back then it was really the game for the rich. I mean, it was a 35,000 rand buy-in. It was maxed 100 players, so it was a 3.5 million guarantee. I think 3.25 after rake, but I mean that was what it was. You could win a seat online. They had multiple online entries, so there were some younger guys. But I think nowadays, um, with the structures and the field sizes and how poker's grown, yeah, it's these young guys are really coming through and putting some pressure on our us old guys. Eh?
Right. So I think let's look at your return back into South African poker. I know through, well, from being there, obviously, you made a big splash in PE,
Yeah,
almost getting banned, but that's a story for another day. And then, yeah, just we've had a few ding dong battles ourselves on the felt as well as online.
we have.
And also with myself being relatively new in the scene, having to adjust to old school crusher like you. So I think it's awesome that we're seeing your return back into the scene in South Africa. I know you have had quite a few travels last year internationally, to Cyprus, Tanzania, but this most recent trip that you've taken to Cambodia, let's hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I literally landed today back in South Africa. I flew to Cambodia on the 20th of January, so it's been a long trip. Good trip. The first tournament I played, really solid, totally different game to you. Yeah, did well, went deep, bagged, started day 2 in the top 20, and found myself stone bubbling it. So
So
that's tournament
bubble
number
one,
one. There's bubble number
one.
one, stone bubble. First tournament, it was a $600 buy-in, and I mean, I think that's really cooler. I 3-bet jammed with Ace King, suited, and the man called with Queen Jack. He committed himself, and found a jack, and that's all she wrote. So I was not happy with my performance, and then I played the next day. I played 8 max event. It was a field of 100 odd players, just over 100, and I actually made final table.
Yes.
I came fifth on that for about $3,000 odd dollar profit. So that was nice. And then the next, I had some two cash sessions that went really well.
Yeah.
I'm probably more an online cash player. I had a really good year playing high stakes cash games, but I enjoyed the social element of tournament poker and
Yeah.
traveling and friends and networking. And so the next tournament I played was the WPT Prime, and it's a multi-day ones. And day 1A, I bubbled.
Bubble number two.
Stone bubbled that. Yeah, so after day 1A, bubbled, came back for day 1B, and I stone bubbled again. Can you believe?
That's bubble number two, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the same tournament. So
Three.
third one.
Bubble number 3 in Cambodia.
Yeah.
So
we can skip that one and go on to...
No. So there's a clip that's been going around, and I was fortunate enough to be on a group, or Jaco's group, for his trip to Cambodia. Now, Jaco, I'd like you just to whip open your phone there quickly and just let's.
So this came out 3 days ago, and it's got 85,000 views.
Yeah, right. So talk us through Stone Bubble Day 1B, and you on the button here, and yeah, you guys can see the rest.
Cards, please.
Who's the 5-4 bowler? One time Chad.
Against the color white up and shows bucket hands. Let's see the blow.
Window call. Who's your baby?
Blow is
I saw all red flop and got excited when I saw the Zaya.
blue, all cards. Let's see the third card.
Is it? They're going to be a 5 one time on the
Five rounds still ahead on the third.
5-2. Come on, last one, Judo.
And the river card.
Is he going to do it? Okay, stone bubble number 3. I mean, what you going to do? This is jam 5-2.
So
It is.
talk us through that hand in particular. Like, what was going through your mind at that point in time? Obviously, it being the bubble in a main event. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, with being this old school aggressive guy, especially around the bubble and ICM spots, it's kind of where I build my stack. I mean, guys watching this doesn't use this against me. I'll have to not jam 5-2, but I kind of make my stacks around that period. And you know, there was a little bit of table chat before that I might have told the guys, I already got a seat in 1A. I'm just trying to spin up a stack. So trying to get them to not steal my blinds, which worked because they folded to me in the big. So, you know, the blinds were really big at that stage. And then when I was in the small the next hand, I also min raised, but I had a legit hand. I think it was King Jack, big blind folded. So I've increased my stack again. And I looked in the room and I saw that 54 players goes through to day 2 and we 55 left. And there's a lot of short stacks and I've got 2 medium stacks to my left. And it folded to me on the button. And I did announce, if it folds to me on a button, I'm all in blind. I didn't go all in blind. I looked at my cards. And the first one was a 5. And I go, there's really no other card that's going to make me go all in here. Like, what combo of 5 am I playing? I don't want to see ace. I don't want to see a 5 even. And then the next card was a suited 2. So I take it as a sign from the universe. 5-2 suited, or 5-2, if you guys don't know, it's a good friend of mine, Chad Moorman's favorite hand. We just had a nice chat, me and Chad, in the break earlier. So I thought, oh, universe giving me a sign. And I did announce that I'm going to go all in. And us South Africans are men of our word. And I looked the dealer straight in the eye and I made a triangle and she sent me the thing. So I did that sentimentally, and I also did that with the bubble pressure, with the stacks on the other sizes. Big Blind was a guy I made friends with. We had a couple of toots the night before, so we bonded. He's not calling me light. And I also think if I just get through the blinds, I'm probably not playing another hand. I'm going to, steal these blinds, and I'll go into day 2 with a nice stack, a stack that I can actually play to win the tournament. And in my mind, I'm just going to all day steal these blinds. These guys really need bottom of range, maybe 10s. I don't see 9s calling. I don't see ace jack calling. Like, there's a lot of hands that should fold. And in my mind, it's probably a good spot to steal. And then I'll go and grab a beer and bag for day 2. And unfortunately, the man had 10s, and that's all she wrote. So that was bubble number 2. I was devastated, really. I was like, how fucking dumb are you, Jaco? Like, are you a retard? I was really hard on myself. I went to bed. I didn't even want to go have a drink with my friends. And I got up the next morning.
Because you actually were saying on the group that you weren't going to play day 1.
Yeah, no, two stone bubbles. I thought this is not my tournament, surely. I woke up in the morning. I said, you know what, there is another flight. I'm not giving up, not going out this way.
Yeah.
And started again from starting stack and grinded for 12 hours. And this time I made it through. I bagged a decent stack going into day 2. I'm in the money now. The poker gods wanted me to bubble again badly, because on the stone called bubble, early position opens, standard open, and the button who covers me jams. Now, that's normally a move that I do a 5-2. He just wants to take the dead money, covering everybody. And I wake up with queens in the big. It's like, this is not happening. Because I had a healthy stack, and I was just like, I could be up against Ace Jack or whatever. Like I just don't want to flip. Just let me just bag and then I'll play tomorrow. Let me just get this thing off bogey off my
The
shoulder,
monkey
right?
off your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I folded, and the man showed kings.
Wow.
So I mean, if generally I would snap, I would
Yes.
snap there, but I mean I didn't. I folded, and the man had kings. So it's a nice guy, Tom from the Netherlands. He showed me because he knew that I bubbled the previous two. So he showed me the kings, and the next day, and someone on my table, fellow South African Ray Adam bubbled.
Oh, okay.
Day one
Yeah.
C. And
So
South
three-
Africa carrying the bubble flag in
the bubble
Cambodia.
flag. Okay.
Jeez.
So let's talk about what it takes from a mindset perspective. Bubble day 1A, bubble day 1B, and just out of that was a big whoopsie, day 1B.
Yeah.
Dusting yourself off and walking back into the poker room. What does it take for you or for a poker player to go back into that room and find that determination to persevere another 12 hours, like you said, and look to redeem themselves?
I think that's it right there, redemption. I think the South African spirit is that we don't give up. We've seen this in Springbok rugby. We've seen this through all our sport. I mean, but poker is a unique game that each hand is a new beginning. So you have to just have that mindset of this is in the past. I've got a new opportunity. I'm still in this with a shot. And I mean, it's a cliche, but while you have a chip and a chair, you're in the tournament.
Yeah.
So you just got to say the past is the past. You play each hand as it comes, and you learn from each mistake, and you try to not repeat it. And so, yeah, that's just what you have to do. You have to just take each hand as a new opportunity.
Would you say that there was, like speaking about the Queen's hand, that there was significant adjustments that you made to your play for day 1C to prevent this bubble reoccurring?
I mean, I didn't jam. I still stole a lot of blinds with a lot of mediocre hands. That's just what I'm going to always do. Looking around at shorter stacks, putting pressure on medium stacks, trying to build up a stack, because you ultimately want to put yourself in a position to win the tournament. I'm not there for a min cash or haircut.
Yeah.
I want to win it. But yeah, so I just said, let's just not be all in.
Yeah.
Let's just not be all in, especially flipping pre-flop. Let's play post-flop poker, small ball poker. So that's really what I just decided to tweak for day 1C.
So
I mean, I did it in all the day ones. I just had a oopsie.
Less
Yeah,
variance.
correct,
Okay,
yeah.
right. Yeah, and that's some great insights around any young player or a person coming into the poker scene in South Africa, is that it doesn't always need to be highlight reel poker. It can be small ball,
Yep.
grinding poker, like what you have on your cap. I mean, we fellow teammates and team
yeah.
grinders. Sometimes that it's the boring poker is good poker.
Yeah. No one's ever gone out of a tournament folding.
No.
So, I mean, you also can't win the tournament folding, but make the money first.
Yeah.
Even if you know a man is stealing, but you still got only maybe 60% equity, maybe folding is a good option. Make the money first, be guaranteed, try and play post-flop. So, yeah, that's something throughout your streams that we've been chatting about sharpening in my game, is a lot of pre-flop flips that I want to avoid. Even if you know you're ahead, it's just not worth it, man. I like playing post-flop, so that's what I'm going to do.
So then let's, you made a pretty deep run in the prime event, prime main event into day 2. So let's talk us through that.
So after day 1A, we're in the money now, and money starts, I think, at $1,800. It's 1,100 buy-in. There's 1,095 players, the field.
Massive.
So I think at that stage we were like 12% of the field, just over 200 players that made the money. And obviously, you know, poker, all the money is up top. So you got to now go deep. And I started off middle of the pack, average stack, and just grinded. Played a lot of, small pots in position, flopped a couple of sets, played them well, got max value, built up a stack, lost some flips, called Queens and Kings preflop, which lost. But I mean, I had guys covered, so that's okay. And yeah, it was an up and down session, and went really deep. Ultimately came 22nd out of a field of 1,095 for just under $9,000. But yeah, really happy about how I ended, how I played. I wouldn't have changed much in that. So yeah, after 2 bubbles playing that same tournament for about 60 hours, it was nice to finally get some bucks out of
Get some
it.
money out, yeah. So coming at least walking away from the series in the green. So let's talk about the style of play in WPT, even in playing that event in Cambodia. What would it be like for a South African going overseas first time playing in one of these events? What could they expect? What's the fields like? What's the play like?
And obviously now my first time to Asia, and I mean for first time guys wanting to wet your beak abroad, I'd say maybe look at a Tanzania to start. Great value. I'd then opt for Asia if you want to go a little bit further. Not as tough as the European scene in Cyprus. I mean, I got absolutely destroyed there. Those Germans and the Russians are next level. But the Asian poker is still a lot of gamble. You know, so if you play right, and you can actually build stacks and do well if you're disciplined and you have patience and you play the right way. There are a lot of internationals in the field, and if you look at the results, it's almost all internationals that scoop all the events. So, I mean, there are some good guys that have the same, but poker's really growing there, and yeah, so you try and avoid the international pros. You know, we got a Hendon mob, so you can check them out before you play. Who's who to avoid, and so I kind of like that when I get my table redraw. I kind of mark guys green for go, yellow for caution, red for stop. So I'm kind of mentally like just rank guys and
value for money playing in the series like that. So overall experience of the trip.
Yeah, no, where's great. I mean, geez, your the whole package, the flights, accommodation, all that really affordable. The hotel is amazing. The people are so friendly. Over 200 tournaments in the series, so there's really something for everyone.
Okay.
I mean, it starts from $100 up to 20,000 and everything in between, and there's satellites, and so there is really poker for every budget. I would say,
Budget,
yeah.
And so looking at coming off your break that you've had, and let's call it 2 years back or 18 months back in the poker scene in South Africa, and if you look forward in your journey or your poker career, what do you see on your horizon for your poker journey for let's say the next 12 months?
I'm definitely playing Tanzania, which is coming up in April. That might probably be my next tournament. I might, if there's a team event for Monty, I'm in. I can play the teams and maybe the main. Like, I'll always do Cape Town, but I don't. I think I'm going to play a little less this year. I kind of overdid it last year, back into it after a long time, and I just kind of got. I don't want to burn out and lose the love for the game again. I'm going to play a little less, travel a little less, but maybe spend some more time studying and online. But I want to play less events, but premium events. Yeah.
So less quantity, more quality.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, you get then the opportunity to compete against the better players, and you're not running massive fields. Well, from South African context perspective, and
so yeah, as you say, probably cut down on the quantity and get some real good players.
So Jaco, I really appreciate you coming on Under the Gun and joining me and being my first guest in the South African Poker Podcast. Something that I'm hoping that will get a lot of traction within the poker community, but also it's an opportunity to showcase poker from a South African context to the rest of the world. But in closing, if you were coming into the game and you had to give yourself some advice, what would that one pearl of wisdom be for any player, or if you were a new player coming into the poker scene in South Africa?
You always coming in as a new player. I think I think bankroll management plays a big role for new guys. Don't try and play the big games too soon. There's a lot of nice online events. There's a lot of small live games. Get yourself familiarized because a lot of people jump in too big too soon. Find one cash and think, shit, I'm the next for Livey, and then go busto. So give yourself some longevity in the game by making sure you have proper bankroll management and that would be from a new player point of view. I would really look at that. Study. The game is ever evolving, and you can't be caught behind. I mean, I'm 42. Today actually is my birthday, and I need to also keep stepping it up. And so even I'm going to take some more time off studying because, as I say, it's not really about the money for me, but I do want to win.
Yeah.
Like I want to get better. And not sharp 5-2.
Not sharp 5-2 on the button.
No good.
No good. Jaco, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show with me. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you raising some silverware and getting you back onto the podcast.
Definitely. Thanks, Wes. It's been good.
Right.
Let's fucking go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Shot, boy.